Next, Ms. Fields, may I have a roll call to establish a quorum? Present.
Present.
Thank you. Next, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Dr. Yvonne Elliott and seconded by Ms. Jackson to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The agenda has been approved. Next, we will move to Riverview Excellence.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues, community, and scholars. This evening for Riverview Excellence, we are honoring some amazing scholars from right here at Central Middle School. If I can have the following three individuals stand and actually come on up behind me. Brendan, Elijah, and Jemiah. Can you come up? And let's see. So let me start with Brendan and Elijah. So all three are 8th grade scholars. Brendan is a member of the robotics team. He's part of the coding. Elijah is as well, robotics and coding. Elijah was named the Student of the Month in October. Both of them are very involved. They read to kindergarten students as a part of Little Bit Foundation and have done book fairs and things of that nature. But they also are part of the Central Middle School communications team. And what they've done is started a 3 things you should know for Central Middle School. And yep, give them a round of applause. And actually, if technology can play a short clip from that first link.
That's not it. Is that it, Mr.
Mr. Right. And as they're pulling that up, but they've taken the initiatives. They saw 5 things you should know that our team produces, and they wanted to inform the students here at Central Middle. That's good. That's good, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. They said be brief. Play the rest of it. Sorry.
We was playing for the kids. That was for the adults.
And you need to be on time, because if you don't be on time, you're going to miss vital and important things that the teacher could be thinking.
Important things.
I don't want to do that.
So, if you remember, come to school on time, wear uniforms, and do the right thing.
And if you follow all these rules, you're setting yourself up for a great year.
Yeah.
Think good.
Awesome. Excellent job. Now, how'd you all come up with 3 things you should know? Was it you? Was it Miss Howard? Can Miss Howard stand, please? Miss Cheryl Howard, stand up. Miss Howard is the one who helps them coordinate that. But how'd you all come up with it?
Miss Howard came with us with the idea, and we thought it would be a good way to get out information. And the reason that we're so goofy in this is because that's really our personality, and add some jump to it, you know? Some.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, what Brenda said. So, yeah.
Awesome. And they're doing an amazing job. And that when Ms. Howard first sent that to me, that just tickled me so much that they are having fun with it and they're making it relatable to students. Also, we have Jemiah here. Let's give it a round of applause for Jemiah. And just like Brendan and Elijah, Jemiah is very involved in school. She's been named Student of the Month every year since sixth grade. Give it up. She's also a part of the science club, the robotics team as well. And Jemiah has started a podcast here at Central Middle School called Just Ask Jemiah. And so if we can play a clip now, we can't watch the whole thing because it's about 20 minutes, but we'll watch about a minute of her podcast.
And we're almost at the end of September, so I hope everyone's having a great first quarter and everyone's grades are up. Today I have two eighth graders, Brenda and Elijah, and I want them to come on the podcast.
Those are familiar names.
Information out to parents and students. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for welcoming us.
So I wanted you two are the spotlights of the three things you need to know at Central Middle School. What made you guys think?
Our teacher came to us with this idea, and we thought, why not? It could be a good way to give out information. I think the idea came from the district's 5 things that we need to know that Mr. Sistrom, hope I said your name right, I'm sorry if I didn't.
Perfect.
We are hoping to do this on.
Thank you. And that's just a snippet. Give it up for Jemiah. And Jemiah, do you want to say any words about the podcast or how you came up with that?
We thought it would be a good way to celebrate students at Central Middle and give them the spotlight that they need to be recognized.
Awesome. And so we are proud to recognize you three for helping to keep the Central Middle School community informed. We definitely appreciate your work. We'll have you sit down for now, and then you'll come back and take a picture at the end. But wonderful job. All right, and next up, can I have Miss Ebony Hartfield and Ayana Flowers come up? Now, I know some people are looking and they're saying, I can't believe you nominated your own team. This was not an internal nomination, although these ladies do deserve a wonderful amount of recognition. I will say they are two of the hardest working people in this district, bar none. But this nomination was from Ms. Hutt in CNI. She nominated the communications team, and she said, from the wonderful photos that highlight our scholars and their parents, urgent safety notifications, informative mailers and newsletters, inclement weather updates, emergency early release notifications via phone blast, email, and text messages, to the students and staff led 5 things you should know, and certainly the Ramley Matters podcast, the communication teams rocks. And she said, I ramtastically nominate Ms. Flowers, Ms. Hartfield, and Mr. Sistrunk for Riverview Excellence. And so you all definitely deserve it. Appreciate the hard work. And so we want to acknowledge them as well. And I did make myself. Yep, I made myself a certificate as well. All right, if we can have the scholars come back up and the parents. Come on up. We'll take a picture with the board. Come around to the front where the board is. Yeah, families, come on too. Parents, Miss Clark, Miss Howard, come on up. She got it. Yeah, she got the communication. Come around the front with the board. Thank you, and that concludes Riverview Excellence.
Thank you, Ms. Shay Fields. Do we have anyone for public comment? Okay, thank you. Next, we will move to our announcements from the board members. Any board remarks? Ms. Morreal?
Ms. Marvell, is your microphone on? Your mic.
I still ain't have it on. Could y'all hear me? I'm so sorry. Start over, take two. So I had a great time at the conference, and I had a lot of fun at the conference. And I always, when I go, try to make sure that I support the people that support us. So SFE, they did a meet and greet, had wonderful food there. So I always try to support them. And then Stiefel just took care of us very, very well. So I had a good time, and I learned a lot.
Madam President. I just wanted to, I know that we're coming to the end of the month as far as breast cancer awareness, but I just want to acknowledge all of the survivors and anyone that is currently going through the process of battling breast cancer. I just want to acknowledge those individuals at this time.
Thank you. Next, we will move to our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I so move.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved by Ms. Morreal and seconded by Dr. May to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda has been approved. Next, we will have our report, our superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I do want to take a moment. We have to acknowledge a few people, a couple of people that we lost. So recently, Riverview Gardens lost longtime teacher, Miss Karen Wilson. Karen was kind, caring, and a committed member of the RGSD Ramley, who retired following the 24-25 school year. She served us honorably at the elementary level for 26 years between LeMasters and Gibson Elementary School. She was a treasured teacher, a friend, and a colleague to many, and will truly be missed. Additionally, I would like to offer our condolences to our facilities department, Mr. Eric Lane, on the loss of his grandson, DeJuan Morgan. DeJuan was hit by a stray bullet in his home approximately 2 weeks ago. So I would like to take a moment of silence to honor Ms. Wilson as well as the loss of DeJuan, if you will. Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire Riverview Gardens community, I would like to extend our genuine sympathies and condolences to Ms. Wilson's family as well as to DeJuan's family. Thank you. Other announcements. Today we had our second Professional Development Day. It was hosted throughout the school day. Staff participated in everything from developing district-wide CFAs, common formative assessments, retraining on HMH math, developing reading success plans, MTSS, human trafficking, mine safety training, as well as a host of other trainings. Overall, it was a successful day, and we want to give our hats off to the Curriculum and Instruction Department. Thank you for today. Parent-teacher conferences, we had parent-teacher conferences last week. My understanding is that we had a great turnout in many schools. And parents, if you are on and you were unable to attend, we ask that you please contact your student's teacher so that you can get an update on how your child is performing. Ms. Moore-Real already brought this up, but she must have been reading my notes. Many of us attended the MSBA conference this past weekend. The conference assists school districts in improving their effectiveness to the community, as well as the Board of Education and superintendent working together as a team. I do want Dr. Coleman and Ms. Moore-Real to hold up their little Cliffords down there, both of them. So because of them, we won 400 books were donated to our school district. 400. And I will say, Ms. Coleman, Dr. Coleman was called first for a winning ticket, and that was 200 books plus the little Clifford. And then Ms. Moore-Real, who must have entered this like 1,000 times, her name was called once. Well, they said you can only win once per school. So her name was called once, and she went, oh, I won. But that's all right, because I know it's only one per school. 2 seconds later, oh, I won again. But that's all right, because I know it's only one winner per school. 2 seconds later, I won again. The man said, the man from Scholastic said, the whole room was laughing by now. And the man, if you win one more time, we're just going to give it to you. What happened 2 minutes later? They called her number again. And so Riverview Gardens received 400 books today. It was a blessing. Our person who received it called us and said, there are 400 books down here. Well, I didn't know they would come that fast, but they are here, and many of them have personal notes written in them to students, and we will make sure that those items are passed out to our students. But it was a good time. Ms. Morrell, how many times did you enter that?
When I counted the tickets, because I kept all the tickets, it was 47.
Oh, so I told Ms. Morrell on the way home we were stopping to get lottery tickets, but because she was winning. I do also want to say that Mr. Ford and I gave a presentation at the MSBA conference. Thank you. Thank you. It was titled Pioneering Solutions, How Riverview Gardens Leverage International Talent to Solve Our Teacher Shortage. And it was well received, and we had a good time. Good job, Mr. Ford. Thank you, thank you. Should we give ourselves awards like Ishmael did? Yeah. Okay. All right, and I do.
Much too modest. Their presentation was excellent. It was superb. I was so proud.
I was
sitting
too.
there beaming like the proud mama. They did an awesome job. They
Yes.
represented Riverview Gardens so well. And even the people that came and said, hey, we know there was a lot of stuff going on at this time, but they should have been in this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We won't give ourselves an award in a frame. Anyway, I do want to talk about the last Father's Walk of this school year will be held tomorrow morning. Ishmael's putting it on display. I'm being bullied right now. But anyway, our Father's Walk, our last one is tomorrow morning at the high school at 7 a.m. And so we want to ask our fathers, grandfathers, guardians, uncles, anyone who feeds into our students, please join us tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for our Father's Walk. An update on our enrollment, we currently have 4,867 students enrolled in the Riverview Gardens School District. I will check every week on the federal shutdown and how that's affecting us. To date, it is not affecting us related to title funding or IDEA, but we will continue to monitor that closely because we do have some concerns about our free breakfast and lunch status. So we will continue to check on that. And then how this is affecting our families. We have many families who receive SNAP benefits, and as of this coming Saturday, SNAP benefits will end for approximately 42 million Americans who rely on these benefits. So Riverview Gardens will put together a list of resources for our families. We will get that information out through the Student Services Department and Communications Department. Please stay informed. Contact your SNAP office. We're going to give you resources to utilize community resources, and then also monitor updates, keeping an eye on official communication so that you can stay up to date. The current shutdown is the second longest in U.S. history, and it is crucial that we stay informed. It is also crucial that as a school district we support our families. Madam President, that concludes my announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. We will now move into items for information.
Thank you. Our first item up for information are data presentations from Central Middle School and Koch Elementary School. Making this presentation is Ms. Barbara Sharp. She is the Executive Director of Continuous Improvement and Title IX. Ms. Rachel Clark, Principal of Central Middle School, and then Dr. Amy Foster, Principal of Koch Elementary. These presentations are in conjunction with policies IA and IGAB, instructional priorities and instructional interventions. Ms. Sharp?
Yes. Good evening. Superintendent Patton, President Williams, members of the board, colleagues, and members of the community. As has been stated tonight, the principals from Koch Elementary School and Central Middle School will present student performance data. They will focus on attendance, the math performance. They will look at trend data to focus on math as well as ELA. ELA refers to English Language Arts. It is also important to reference that we have spent the last several years being very intentional about the focus on student performance data. Since our work with Solution Tree, we have focused and have brought presentations to this board. We have spent time in our district leadership team meetings focused on data dives. We have spent time in various, in our buildings with the work with Solution Tree, as well as the work from support from Central Curriculum and Instruction, the Leadership and Accountability Office, as well as the Office of Continuous Improvement. So the analysis of data is not new. Each year we have been very intentional about the focus, and so tonight we will receive presentations. I will ask that you refrain from your questions until the last presentation. So the first presenter that will come to us will be the principal from Koch Elementary School, that is Dr. Foster, and then we will receive the principal from Central Middle School. Dr. Foster.
Thank you. All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
I will begin this presentation by thanking you all for having me. Okay. All right, so I would like to start by talking about our attendance and how in 2024-2025 school year, the ADA did hold steady. However, it did drop a bit. This school year, we are looking to move in the right direction to get those numbers increased as far as getting students excited about coming to Koch. So that is our goal, to try to get the kids inside the building. And so we put together some door prizes for the kids when they show up. We've had some attendance celebrations for our students so that they know that we do care when they show up. But that is it for the attendance. So we all know when kids show up, it's more likely that they'll grow. Yep. All right, for math. In the fall 2024, our first graders rose 10% from the previous school year. Now from fall 2024 to fall 2025, they rose to 18%. So our first graders are showing some steady growth. And that is, again, it speaks to that group of kids when they come to school, they learn. And that's a good group that comes to school on a regular basis. They're 99, they're getting close to 90-90 in that grade, that first grade range. For reading. Took some notes here. In reading in 2024, I'm sorry, yeah. Across grades K through 5, for our readers, below basic readers decreased from 62% in the fall of 2024 to 58% in the fall of 2025. Our proficient and advanced readers increased from 13% to nearly 20%. Kindergarten and fourth grades show the most consistent growth, while upper grades continue to trend upward. So what that means is, and on my slide, I'm going to skip to the end really quick. The bubbles on the right, that is the STAR report that I like to look at because it has 4 quadrants of data. One is high growth, high performance. Another one is low growth, low performance. We always want to be in that upper right-hand corner, high growth, high performance. And as you see those bubbles trend up to the right, that's the quadrant we want to be in. Also for the math, the one below that one, our scores doubled. So I didn't pull up the slide from last year, but most of those blue bubbles were over to the left and down. Now you see they're trending to the right. We're moving more kids upward. So we're trying to get to the high growth, high performance quadrant. In our celebration, so I had 11 teachers return. 7 of them were uncertified, but most of my teachers came back. I only had 1 teacher that did not come back this school year. So my staff returned. They like it at Coke. Our culture is good. Our vibes are good. We speak positivity and life into our kids. And so that's what we're doing at Coke. Another celebration that we have in the middle slide, you probably can't see it very well, but our attendance. Our attendance is 91%. Ooh, that's good. So our kids are coming to school. Also, we have 274 students. I have 24 students currently participating in a nursing program, and that adds to the attendance because they know they can't participate if they do not come to school. So I just wanted to point that out. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, now presenting Ms. Rachel Clark.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues, and community. I brought my because I'm pretty sure I won't be able to see all the way. The topics are attendance, math performance, ELA performance, map comparison reports, and then celebrations at the end. So this, the first slide is a depiction of 3 years of attendance data. It's showing you ADA, which is the number of scholars or the percentage of scholars that show up on any given day. And then, of course, 90-90, which is the percentage of our scholars that are at school at some percentage of 90% during the school year. And that is the higher the better for our district because that's how we gain additional points for AYP. So if you see 2023 and 24, our 90-90 is what I'm going to focus on. And we didn't get more than or have more than 66% in any given month. But if you look at the current school year, for August, our 90-90 was 79.5%. And as I said in the CSI meeting, we haven't had a 7 and a 9 together in a very long time. So we were very, very excited about that. We did see September and October, but we, our attendance team and just staff, we're taking suggestions, and we're putting our heads together just to figure out what we can do because we're seeing a decline in our 7th grade scholars, and they're hurting our attendance by at least 10% of that 90. ELA performance by grade. So this is our most recent STAR, the beginning of the year STAR data. So you have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If you look at the below basic for each of the 3 grade levels for ELA, there's that percentage for below basic is considerably lower than it had been in the previous years. And I also gave you the number of scholars that fell into those categories. Basic is beginning to increase, where in the past we'd seen maybe 6 to 11% in the basic category. So for all grades, and I wanted to kind of point out that 8th grade, their basic is significantly higher and below basic is significantly lower. And we kind of we contribute that to the fact that those scholars have been with us for 3 years. Proficient and advanced in all 3 grade levels have definitely increased. I'll just be honest in saying that in the past we hadn't seen 14 or 7.0% of any grade level in the proficient category. So I contribute that to the hard work of the staff and our scholars here at Central. They are working hard, they collaborate hard, and they continue to goal. Goal setting is one of our school-wide priorities for this year. Our current reality. So 11.5, 15.3, and 14.7% of Central Middle School scholars are estimated to score at or above the average percentile rate on the 2026 map. Those will be our points that we need. Also, this is compared to 4.6, 11.6, and 8.2 for last year's map. Our school, when we meet in our collaborative teams, and this is for ELA, we tier the instruction because we know that we're tiering the tier based on the performance of our scholars. So I'll just mainly focus on tier 1 because that is for all scholars, regardless of having a reading success plan, an IEP, anything. So the tier 1 instructional focus is high quality instruction at grade level. And we do know that we have scholars that are performing below grade level, but we weren't getting anywhere when we continued to step back and find lower level work for them to do. So we're challenging them at grade level with a multiple of strategies, instructional strategies and interventions. For math, same thing, even with 76% below basic, in the 9 years, we teetered in the middle to high 80% for below basic. So again, the improvement is there because those below basic scholars are drifting into the basic category. Even for math, proficient and advanced, being honest again, we often had 0.0% in either of those categories. And now you see, just for our 6th grade, thank you to my feeder elementary schools, that number is higher than it's been in a long time. They came here prepared and they're ready to work. Current reality, 7th grade, 11.7% proficiency versus 5.6 in 24. 8th grade, 9.2 versus 3.8% proficiency in 2084. It's huge. 7th grade proficiency is exceeding 8th grade by 2.5%. Those scholars are the scholars that also showed great gains in 6th grade math from MAP. This cohort had a proficiency rate of 6.3% in 6th grade. So we're working hard with them to even improve and increase that number or the percentage. 8th grade, 15%, 9.2 estimated to score at or above proficiency, as compared to 3.1% last year. Again, the tiers, we focus on the whole group in addition to tier 1 and 2, the additional interventions based on the prescriptive reading success plans. Our MAP comparison is a cohort comparison. So these scholars that are represented in this slide are current 9th grade scholars at our high school. So you'll see, if you just look at 2023, and I won't go through the entire thing for ELA, you look at 2023, their MPI was 301. By the time they reached 8th grade, their MPI was 320. I showed the arrows up and down where we decrease in the levels, and you'll see that below basic continue to decrease as they progress from 6th to 8th grade. Then we had a whopping 8.2 scholars that performed in proficiency at the proficiency level after having them for 3 years. In math, we stayed stagnant from the year before to this past MAP test. And then our science teachers and scholars, there's no cohort because of course they only take it in 8th grade. However, I told our science teachers that we needed 11 points to get off the floor in science MAP, and we got 12.9. Celebrations quickly. 20 out of 24 core subjects are filled with certified teachers. 358 of our 583 scholars have at least an 85% attendance or better. That's 90-90, not 80-A. There's a difference. And currently 108 of them have perfect attendance.
That's good.
Our annual percentage rate, or APR points, increased from 2025, but it's embargoed. And then Central Middle School received the St. Louis University Prime Award for recognition for 3 years of continuous improvement on the MAP. And that's the induction. Thank you. Now I guess we'll entertain any questions you all have. If you all want to stand, please. Central Middle School, thank you for coming.
Ms. Clark, I have a question. Do you all have any international teachers on staff?
We do.
Okay.
We do. We have 9, and they are rocking and rolling.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Coleman?
Dr. Foster, can you tell us a little bit about the nursing program?
I knew you were interested in that. So our babies, they have to be in uniform, which is scrubs and comfortable shoes. So they come to school, they wear that all day. And I do have some pictures, I just don't have them on the slides. Recently, they learned how to take CPR, blood pressure in 3 different spaces, and they can show you how to do that. They all have stethoscopes that they have to leave in the space. I'm ordering them lab coats too, but they're learning from UMSL. UMSL comes in and they are, they consulted with me and I talked with them and I said, come on, you got to be interactive. And so they're making hearts, they're making stomachs, they're learning how those things function and why they're vital to our life. In the end, hopefully we have some sort of a makeshift clinic where we can come and take some blood pressures for the elderly in our community with our students, along with the UMSL students, of course, being supervised by a professional nurse. But that's the goal. We also did the culinary program, and we had, and I want to say she was a former teacher here, Dr. Banks. She wants to come back and volunteer to teach the kids about culinary and how to cook, because we know they're cooking at home. I cooked at home when I was little, and so we just want them to be safe cooking at home. And so I really want Coke to be a CTE elementary school. We don't have one of those in Missouri. And so we'll do pathways where hopefully they'll see some through lines up into the high school. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you got to come check it out. You got to come see it.
Ms. Lane?
I'll see you at the next day. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
What's the
CTE, Career and Technical Education. So, like Clyde Miller in the city, where they have a nursing program and they actually go out on internships and say it again. Nortec too, but Clyde Miller has that too. They also have, so I'm trying to do podcasting and some sort of broadcasting at my school as well, because the kids are really into phones and stuff, and I don't think we should take it completely from them. Like, we should offer something like that at school, not their phone, of course, but something like that. So the nursing program, I have it scheduled all the way up and through May. I work with UMSL, so I partner with UMSL. I had a good friend. Her name is Dr. Haynes now. We grew up together, and so she kind of helped them run the program there. And so we're solid. Like, I can schedule this thing all the way up until 2027 if you all let me. they're willing because the nursing students have to go through that cycle. And so, of course, they want to give back to the community, and so that's how we're going to do it. But CTE, Career and Technical Education. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Our next item up for information is a data presentation. Communications program evaluation. That's the importance of changing the page. Communications program evaluation. Making this presentation is Mr. Ishmael Sistrunk, the Executive Director of Communications, and this is in conjunction with Policy IM, Evaluations of Instructional Programs. Mr. Sistrunk and team.
Good evening again, and I will be succinct as we have been duly reminded. For my presentation today, if you can go to the next slide, go to the second slide. The Riverview Gardens program evaluation. Oh, I got it up here. All right, my bad. Okay. And you've been introduced earlier to Ms. Ayanna Flowers, a communications specialist, and Ms. Ebony Hartfield, the administrative assistant. As you can see, there are a ton of duties here. I'm not going to read through all of these. I essentially manage oversight of the department and manage all the communications, ingoing, outgoing, to students, staff, parents, board members. Ms. Flowers really has started to be our student-focused representatives, where she is in the schools each and every day working with students, mining for stories to get information on what's going on with our students, what can we highlight with our staff members. And so she's taking photographs, she's working on podcasts, slideshows, 5 things you should know, of course, and really is student focused. Ms. Hartfield, the administrative assistant, of course, she manages all of the administrative duties, but she also is the main maintainer of our website, probably 75, 80%, or not the website, social media, of our social media posts is Ms. Hartfield. She's from the community, she loves the community, she also works with the community to find out what's going on in our local municipalities and cities. So she's calling Riverview, she's calling Moline Acres, she's calling City of Bellefonte neighbors to find out what's going on and putting that on our website, on our community page, also on our social media. And so we all work together. She does the ordering and purchasing as well. And we all work together in tandem to support all the communications needs in Riverview Gardens. Goals and objectives. These 3 goals have been consistent for the past 3 years. We'll have a communications plan coming soon. Number 1, develop and maintain positive collaborative relationships with all stakeholders. Number 2, improve climate and culture in Riverview Gardens. And 3, improve the image of Riverview Gardens through parent, community, and media relations. Our big focus and objective, and you're going to hear me say it over and over again, highlighting the scholars, featuring the scholars, capturing student voice. That's really our most important thing. You saw it earlier with Riverview Excellence. Central Middle School has a podcast. They have a 3 things you should know. Westview Middle has a podcast. I was talking to Ms. Holzer at the high school today. They're working on getting a podcast at the high school. We're also working on a communications club, Ms. Flowers, at Lewis and Clark Elementary School. And so we're doing a lot of things to make sure that students are getting the opportunity to share their voice and to be highlighted in the district. Also, website and social media ambassadors. These are just all the mediums and all the audiences that we communicate through. I won't read all of these here. It is a lot, as Ms. Flowers said, it's a lot. Some analytics. So how have we been doing? Social media, and I definitely can't read that on there. Let me grab this. Social media analytics. When it comes to goals, I'm a person who believes in setting aggressive goals. I don't believe in setting, well, let's improve by 5%. Nothing wrong with that, but if I think we can achieve 15 or 20, then that's what I'm going to go for. A few to highlight. Facebook, our goal for the last school year was to have a 15% increase. We fell short, but we got 8% increase, and so we're at over 3,700 followers as of July 1. Now it's up to over 3,800 followers. On X, that's our challenge. We've lost like single-digit followers on X/Twitter for the past few years. So our goal was 15%. We actually lost 1.4%. So we're working on strategies. How can we improve X? I think a lot of our community has left X with the change in ownership, but there's still people that are on X, and so we want to grow there. Instagram, our goal was 20% growth. We hit 17.1, up to 3,161 followers. Now the big gainers here, YouTube, our goal was 20%. We achieved 31.7%, up to 918 subscribers. On LinkedIn, our goal, 25% increase, and you'll see we went 161% increase on LinkedIn. TikTok, our goal was a 64% increase. I just wanted to make that a nice even number, 300 followers, and we improved 253%. So great growth on there. But the biggest place that we've really grown has been the Ramley Matters podcast. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a guest on the podcast and everyone who's listened. Last year, our goal was to increase 50%, again, aggressive goal. We increased 756%. So we went up from 3,452 downloads to over 19,000. And as of today, or last week actually, we were over 30,000. So we're continuing to grow and grow in that area. So if you hadn't listened to the Ramley Matters podcast, please check it out. News media analytics last year, we had 304 articles in the news media. And contrary to popular belief, most of them were not negative. So you see 44% were neutral, which is more informational. Hey, this is what's going on in the district. 34% were positive, and only 22% were negative. So our goals for this year, we want to put the positive at the top. We want to have the positive have the most, but a lot of people think that Riverview Gardens, there's only negative stories about us, and that's not true. It's only about 22% of the stories out there. And this publicity estimate, this is something from Critical Mention, one of the tools that we use, but they estimated we got $13 million worth of publicity in the 2004-2005 school year. So just all the reach that our stories have, that's what they value it at.
All right.
Opportunities and next steps, again, increase student voice in all aspects, increase student participation in district communication, increase participation in the climate and culture survey. That's going to be coming up on November 1st. That is available for all staff members, students, board members, community members, so be looking out for that. Changing the narrative. We want to make sure that people know the amazing things that are happening in Riverview Gardens School District, and we can't do that without all of your help. So we're in the schools trying to find out what's going on, but if you know something that's going on great, or if you know a person that's won an award or did a great act, make sure you let us know so we can highlight that. Highlight, increase community involvement, rebuild in partnership with the Education Foundation. That's going to help us to raise some funds to be able to help with scholarships for students, tuition reimbursement. We're working on a golf fundraiser for next year, a golf event, and so the foundation will help with that and increase timeliness and quantity of communication. We've been sending a lot more text messages this year, and so in addition to email, text message, website, app, social media, all of those ways we're reaching out to the community. But the biggest change has just been the number of text messages. We're sending those out on a weekly basis, sometimes a daily basis. Any questions or concerns?
Ms. Morreal?
Okay.
Ms. Morreal and then Ms. Lane.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say that just some of the things that we've heard tonight, I'm not sure if you all are aware, but when we have our conferences, they also do a student showcase. And I know at one time some of the students from the high school did it, but now they are allowing elementary and middle school students. So just keep that on your mind, you know, because they had quite a few students this time, but none of them had nursing and none of them had podcasts, so.
Absolutely. And I think student voice is very important. I do think that's something as a district we need to anytime we have meetings, anytime we have events and activities, we need to have students there because the parents in the community will come when the students are there. So we definitely need to highlight that. Thank you.
Ms. Lane?
I think you all are doing an excellent job. Obviously, the data shows that. And I don't expect you to actually have all the answers to this. But last week, we had a meeting at Danforth Elementary School, very important meeting. And from what I gather, there was one parent, two grandparents, and a couple of community people who were there. And I know you all flooded all the airwaves about what's going on. And I'm still hearing, we didn't know, we didn't hear. So, I mean, I don't know what else you can do to get parents to be interested and come out to such an important meeting as that was regarding redistricting. But if there's anything else that we can do to help any of us on the board, I think we all need to all hands on deck, especially for something that serious.
Right. Absolutely. And I appreciate your comments. That's another thing where I think we can, if we can involve students some kind of way, that will help. We do send it out in every way, shape, and form. I think we have to work with our schools a little better because school events are packed. School events, parents come and they want to see their kids. So whenever we have school events, but the district events, it's just been a struggle over the years. And I don't think it's that they don't know about it. I just think that they don't know the relevance to them or the importance to them. And so that's something we have to do a better job at. Maybe it's involving students in telling that message and calling them to come to the meetings because, yeah, that is a challenge. But we also have been working with our local municipalities and the mayors and the Board of Aldermen and trying to get the message out that way as well.
Dr. May?
I was just going to make a suggestion since it was mentioned about a nursing program. Maybe Central can be a pilot program for communications for the children.
Absolutely, and we have been working with Ms. Howard, also Ms. Holzer at the high school in developing that. Lewis and Clark is the start of our communications club that we're having, but we have talked to Ms. Howard about featuring the students on the district podcast and also us collaborating with them on their podcast if they want to interview us, if they want to interview me, and just working with them on technical details. So that's one of our big goals this year is just to work more with students and put them at the front of the district.
That's awesome. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ishmael's just trying to earn those awards that they gave themselves. So great job, Ishmael. I know during our meetings, seriously, Ishmael and I always talk constantly about changing the narrative, and not only changing it, but taking control of our own narrative and stop letting other people tell our story. And so thank you to the communications department for making that happen and doing so effectively. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Our next item up for information is the E-rate funding. Making this presentation is Dr. Larry, and this is in conjunction with policy DD grants. Dr. Larry?
Thank you, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues. I am just here to inform you of somewhat of an award from E-rate. E-rate is a program that's handled by the Federal Communications Commission. It provides significant discounts to internet access, telecommunications, and it's authorized by the FCC. The discounts are based on your free and reduced rate. And since ours are so high, we're usually at the highest level of discounts, 90%. So I wanted to inform you that we were approved for an award of a discount, don't tell Ishmael though, of $713,000 and $499.28. Again, that's used for discounts on our E-rate, discounts on our WAN, on our wireless network. However, I have to inform you that Congress decided a few months ago not to approve hotspots for districts. Therefore, I submitted, it would have been over $300 and some thousand, and they have decided that is not going to be approved. So I have other things in the hopper. I've asked other areas, other programs to assist with getting it, because we do need to get some hotspots for certain groups of students, and I will keep you informed of that. So at this point, Mr. Ishmael, we do have $713,499.28, as he's writing that down, because he's going to ask for something very soon. Do you have any questions? Dr. Patton, I'm a little taller today, can you tell?
All right, Dr. Larry. Thank you for including that 28 cents. Dr. Larry. I'm coming for you, Dr. Larry. All right, moving to our next item for information. It's the ELL program evaluation. Making this presentation is Ms. Catherine Davis-Wynn, Ms. Karuna Devadi, I was close, and Dr. Kimberly Mott. This is in conjunction with policy IGBA, programs for English learners, and policy IM, evaluation of instructional program. Team?
Good evening and greetings to our superintendent, Dr. Patton, Board of Education members, colleagues, and community members. I am Karuna Devadi, and I proudly serve as an ELL specialist in Riverview Garden School District for secondary level. Today, our team is here to present an overview demographic information about ELL population in our district. Our program serves overall 80 current K-12 students in ELL program, where 76 are active and 4 are under monitor status. That says we have 23.4% increase in enrollment since last year. Okay. Their first language of communications are Arabic, Filipino, Spanish, and Swahili. The distributions among 80 students are as follows. We have 48 students in elementary, 13 in middle, and 19 in high school. Now let's talk about some modification that has been made in our district. Our CNI department facilitates the ELL program in collaboration with Dr. Ramsdale and Dr. Kimberly Matt. Our dedicated ELL teacher, Ms. Catherine Davis-Wynn, support ELL students attending elementary school. I support I support ELL students attending high school and Westview Middle School. At Riverview Gardens High School, there is a designated ESOL period, and Westview Middle School I support through a pull-out model. Our goals and objectives are very strictly consistent and aligned with our district protocols and norms. Now it's time to hand over this presentation to my lovely colleague, Ms. Catherine Davis-Wynn.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for having us tonight. We assess our students with the annual tool, the WIDA Access, as mandated by the state of Missouri. It runs on a scale from 1 to 6 with a score of 4.7 or higher needed to exit the program. Once students have exited the program, they have 2 years of academic monitoring to make sure that they don't fall behind in their studies. Once they complete this, they are exited out of the ELL program for good. Although if by request of a teacher or parent or concerned member, they can be reevaluated. We use this as a criteria to inform year-round instruction, inform teachers, and help collaborate with parents and community members on the academic welfare of the students. Looking at the data from last year, the secondary is combined with middle and high. We did have another teacher last year. However, it's just Ms. Karuna Devadi and I this year. They had an average growth of 0.31 points, which is an increase of the 0.092 points from the average points last presentation. We attribute this to having more help at the middle school level. At the elementary level, we had an average point growth of 0.39, which was down from 0.93 points in the last presentation, and we attribute this to having a much increased student population at the elementary level. The next steps for this department is to make sure that we have ongoing ELL targeted professional development and to make sure that we have an expanded library for the district so that we can continue to share these resources with parents and teachers. Additionally, we've been exploring additional technologies to make sure that communication with our parents is made easier through the usages of tools like Talking Points and Class Dojo. We also are looking at potentially looking for sourcing of funding, such as bilingual books, translator devices for classroom teachers, and making sure we have a budget for that. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Dr. May?
I was looking at the presentation, and I just had a question about whether or not you all had kind of did some type of proposed budget on the software and additional curriculum that you had an interest in having for the ELL students based on this document, and how were you utilizing LAMP in order to support with the enrollment for parents that need translations?
Yes, of course. So right now, the technology that we're pursuing is free technology to make sure that that's not an additional budgetal concern. However, with LAMP, that budget has been expanded due to having the budget increased need last year. So typically, our largest budget eaters are parent-teacher conferences, in which we book in-person conferences for like a span of 2 hours or more for in-person, and we can book virtual any time of the year as well. So it eats about a lot of our communication with parents. And we also have MAP testing, as those students have to be tested in small groups, and they have to have equal access, which means that one of our in-person interpreters and myself sit with those students and make sure that they're being tested safely and securely, and that those translated materials are being given to them in a format that does not violate any state mandate.
So as far as tools for staff, like when you were saying assistance with enrollment, do you have any type of software or devices that will do translation and communicate back whatever that person wants translated to them, or what do you have available?
Right now, Ms. Liddell has graciously given us some translator devices that we use at the homeschool at Masters Elementary. We have 4 of them in current operation right now, consistently being used by teachers. They've had good success with them. Some other teachers prefer Google Translate as a free option on their phone. We've had some good conversational back and forth on that. However, we do still have a lot of our satellite locations with those students who did not want to opt to transfer to the international location of a Masters, so that we're still looking for additional translators for those teachers to use with those students as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Karuna, you said we have Arabic, Filipino, Swahili. What was the other one?
Arabic, Swahili, and Spanish.
Spanish, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, our next item up for information is the federal programs year in review. Making this presentation is Ms. Lakina Curtis. She is the Director of Federal Programs, and this is in conjunction with Policy AF, Accountability, Commitment to Accomplish, and then IM, Evaluation of Instructional Programs. Ms. Curtis?
Good evening, school board, colleagues, and community. I've provided you all with several attachments. I try to keep you all educated and adjusted with the information that I provided with you all. Within the PowerPoint, this is for fiscal year ending in 2025, June of this prior school year. You can see what the allocations were on all of our federal funding sources. And again, we only received Title I, Big A, Title II, Title IV, and then Title I, Little A, for 9 of our school sites in our school district. Our goals and objectives are ongoing for federal programs, and overall our goal is to spend 85% of our school budget overall for the entire district. I've included for your information, our end of the year MUNIS spending report on all of those funding sources for your review, and I've included the link so that you can see the effectiveness report that I do, not only internal within the district, and I do it also with our non-public sites that I work with as well. So you can see that information and how our support has been for them as well. Some of the successes that I kind of divided up, I cannot see that. I'm glad I did print this out. Some of our non-public partners, some of the successes, and listening to them from fiscal year ending in 2024, they wanted to, overall, they are satisfied. The ones that do participate, they are satisfied with how our department does support them. Just how we function and come out to the schools. I will go over to their sites, and they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know how to use resources and what supplemental things they can do. And so I will go over to their school sites and support them in that way. So they do appreciate those things that we'll do for them. And they are encouraged to use the funds, again, in the district. A lot of the building and departments appreciate. I try to make the job easier for them because they are in the buildings with students and teachers. So whatever I can do to alleviate some of the load from them, I'll do it from my end. And it's things just as simple as presenting to you all on certain things. If they don't have to do it, I'll do it, like presenting before and after school activities, things like that. Also, just making sure that they are understanding of what's allowable expenses so that we don't, as a district, get into any supplanting challenges and things like that, because again, sometimes people don't know. Some of the opportunities and next steps, again, our non-publics, this was something new to me, and we did start this year, is having shared training with them. They are, again, the people that do come to meetings and respond. They are interested in participating in our professional developments, and they have taken those opportunities to come in and work with us and partner with us. So I'm appreciative of them doing that. And then having those one-to-one opportunities with me, so they do want those things like that to continue. Some of the things that in-district have asked, again, you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes things change, and you have new administrators, new administrative assistants, and just making sure that everybody is on the same page. So some have asked that I continue to do monthly trainings with people. I will continue to do that, but I do, with this survey, I make sure that it's not anonymous, it is direct, so that I can know how to support you, the person, directly on what it is that you need. Any questions or concerns?
Ms. Lakina, how many non-public partners do we have?
We have about 35.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Curtis. Moving on to our last item for information, it is the budget reduction opportunities with contracted custodial services. Making this presentation is Mr. Carl Scheid, the Executive Director of Facility and Food Service, and this is in conjunction with policy DJF 2 purchasing. Mr. Scheid.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues, and community. Tonight I come before you sharing some information regarding budget reduction opportunity, which would be to contract custodial services for the district. The objective of this presentation is ultimately to provide information about the benefits of contracting custodial services and implementing it, to share information on the methods of procuring the contracted custodial services, and then the intent is for recommendations to be brought forward to the next board work session. Just to provide a little bit of background information on how are we functioning right now. So we're currently operating with an in-house custodial services team, with the districts supporting all of our buildings. The custodial services consist of a custodial supervisor position, which has actually been vacant for 2 years, and it has now been frozen as part of our budget reduction needs. So we currently employ 69 custodians, of which there's 17 that are lead custodians, and then the remaining are just regular custodians. So 52 individuals. So they're assigned throughout the district to support our custodial needs. Just to kind of give you a snapshot, with our equipment, we have a bit of an aging portfolio of equipment. There have obviously been efforts in the past to invigorate by investing in newer equipment, but when you buy a lot all at once, then as that ages, then it's time to systematically start replacing it, and it can get quite expensive. So we're getting closer to the end of some of that equipment's life. So it is looming out there and will require reinvestment. Our in-house recruitment effort is really, it's a joint effort between our Human Resources Department and our Facilities Department. So obviously, Mr. Ford and his team are constantly trying to bring candidates in to apply for the job, and we are constantly reviewing applicants to find qualified individuals to bring in. As it relates to orientation and training, again, it's more of a joint effort as well. The Human Resources team will provide the orientation, then we, the Facilities Department, will provide the onboarding and initial training to get the employee situated and assigned to a building. As it relates to that recruitment effort, we're capturing probably 40 to 50% of our recommended candidates. As you're aware, the process can take some time, depending on when the individual is recommended for employment, when they can make it in for orientation, how quickly they complete their background check, and then ultimately when they get approved by the board. That can sometimes, depending on when the recommendation's made, it could be a couple weeks to a month, depending on the timing of that. So, and some people are looking for a job and they're looking for it now, so we have some people that do move on prior to making it through the process. And then we obviously have those that, for a variety of reasons, do not make it through the process due to other factors. So our initial training is facilitated by the Facilities Department, but then as we go on through the year, we try to team them up with individuals that have certain skills. So for instance, if we have individuals that are needing more experience in floor work, we will team them up with somebody that has a bit more expertise in that area. We also provide professional development sessions. We're utilizing our vendors such as Royal Paper, who will come in and do a variety of professional development sessions as it relates to how to use chemicals, how to work on various types of equipment, other safety precautions, just so that we keep that information in front and center of our staff. Our accountability measures consist of walkthroughs conducted by facilities leadership, as well as information and feedback from our building principals. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of how we're operating currently. So the big things I want to talk about here relate to the contracting of custodial services. The big thing that stands out most prominently is the ability to save money in terms of our operation. So there's a projected operational savings of $750,000 to $1.3 million annually if we would pursue contracting custodial services. Oh, I'm sorry. Another valuable piece here is to seek out a custodial service company that has specifically experience in school districts. Not every custodial company out there services school district. There's a smaller number that do, but it is vital to get the right players on the bus. So it's a key thing to get a company that has done these services in schools and understands schools. Another key thing is having a company that has a robust human resources and corporate support services that can back up the delivery of those services. You know, obviously it's a challenge for us to recruit people, but with a larger organization, they are much more effective at recruiting the individuals they need to satisfy their obligations. A lot of it comes down to expertise. If it's something you do every day, day in, day out, you can bring more to the table. And that's another thing with contracted custodial services is tested and proven workload methodology, analyzing their data points and measuring their outcomes, you know, as well as just more effective recruiting and retention strategies that allow them to continue to be successful in business. And a key thing with such a transition like this would be for that service provider to be willing and able to absorb our staff as we move forward in a transition such as this so that it could be as smooth as possible. A few more points and then I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, another strength would be utilizing a custodial service company that can have a comprehensive training program that provides initial as well as ongoing training, which will ensure that staff can learn and grow. It's also key to really improve the efficiency and effectiveness of it. One thing about a private company is they're looking at a means, how can we deliver our services much more efficiently, much more effectively to deliver a higher level of satisfaction. So looking through that lens is vitally important. Also looking at routing, inspections, report cards, business reviews, and continually to monitor their business model is a key thing as well. And another thing is just having their finger on the pulse of the industry. When you're working within the custodial services industry, there are trends, there are new things coming, there's technology, there's new equipment, all of those things you have to stay on top of and make determination, is this the right fit for your organization or for your clients, in this scenario? Will this be effective things to implement within this district? So, moving on from that, we're going to talk briefly about implementation. There are many different ways you can implement this, and I've experienced this personally in another district, and there's many districts that have made this kind of transition or conversion. In order to reap the benefits of the savings, a comprehensive approach is the most effective. So in this scenario, we would be looking at a conversion to contracted services for the 26-27 school year. And of course, a component of that would be that the contracted service would absorb our current staff members in order to ease the transition. I'm going to touch upon procurement approach as well. So there are some options here. We could utilize the services of a purchasing co-op, as the district has been for a lot of our functions in the district. Purchasing co-op actually performs all the necessary bidding requirements and provides qualified service providers who can then perform the service at a discounted rate. So they're vetting everybody, making sure that they perform the bidding process. They bear the burden and expense of that in order to bring qualified entities forward to entities, such as the school district or other governmental entities that use the purchasing co-ops. The alternative to that would be to go through an RFP process, which we would need to develop, advertise, publish a comprehensive RFP for contracting these services. As it relates to the outcomes, it's going to be as good as the results of who actually submits proposals. So you're at the mercy of who actually submits proposals. Sometimes it could be good. Sometimes you can only have one bidder coming to the table and not offering much of anything. So then you have to make some decisions as to whether you're going to go through that process again or do something different. So the caveat with the RFP process, it takes more time. Those coming to the table may not be as robust as you were hoping, and thus they may not be able to offer the projected savings that we would like to see. So what would the next steps be? Next steps, we would be moving forward, trying to capture a savings. We will work to determine the best procurement approach, which we have to keep in mind our budgetary constraints in that process as well. And then the intent would be to bring a recommendation to the Board of Education at a future board work session. I know I've said a lot. I would be happy to stop talking and let you ask some questions.
Dr. May?
As far as the staff, the individuals in supervising roles, what would be the impact, like a supervisor management role? What would be their impact? Do they continue to serve in those roles when they transition, or what's the impact?
Yeah, so typically in these situations, when you bring in contracted custodial services, their intent is to look at the team that's already here, and if we've got good people in place, continue that work, and we do have some good people in place. So the intent is not to just purge people and start from scratch here. Keep the things that work working, and our custodial staff does have a lot of valuable knowledge and experience. So typically, those individuals are offered positions with the contracted service company.
What is the impact as far as their retirement?
So that is the biggest challenge of all. One thing unique about school districts is the fact that we have a wonderful retirement system, and that doesn't exist in the private sector so much. That's not something that's offered. So in those situations where we know we have the retirement benefit that's going to come in the long term, they offer other incentives. So they have 401k plans, they have other monetary incentives and bonuses and things like that that they often will share with their teams to keep them motivated and focused on the task at hand and continuing to provide quality service.
So we'll need to kind of develop a plan that will kind of be supportive of those individuals that might be close to being vested, because is it 5 years for them? How many years before they're vested for? About 5. Okay.
5 for vesting, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have people all over the spectrum as it relates to their years of service. We have some that are actually eligible to retire like immediately if they chose to do so. Some are a few years out, and some have many years to go. So it's a bit of a variety.
And so when it comes to the supplies, would we be asking the company what supplies they're recommending, or are they going to pay for it with the contract agreement, or would we be addressing the ordering of those items as well?
Okay, so typically how these things are structured is that you will have, the district always will purchase the true consumables. The consumables being toilet paper, paper towels, trash can liners. Those are the basic things that we provide, whether we're doing the service or the contractor's doing the service. However, they would be purchasing all the actual cleaning chemicals, the mops, the brooms, the scrubbers, the buffers, the auto scrubbers, all the equipment. That would be part of the contract with them.
Okay, and so with them being, I guess a part of the RFP, we need to make sure that if they don't typically require a background check, that we incorporate that in.
Absolutely,
in the plan.
yes, and I have been through this before, and it's actually a simple collaborative process between the Human Resource Department of the Contracted Custodial Service and our Human Resources team to coordinate how that background process works.
Okay. All right, no further questions.
Okay,
Ms. Tisworth?
Isn't there some companies out there where, say you short? Is there some companies out there say we are short a custodian, whereas they would send us a custodian instead of, a one-day system?
Like a sub-service, is that what you're talking about?
Isn't it? Why? Okay, because I'm having a problem with this outsourcing thing. We've already caused a lot of misery to our DSOs. Now we're going to do housekeeping like that or custodians like that as well. Can we just find other means of keeping the people, our employees, at least kind of happy instead of kicking them out the door? You understand what I'm saying? Like we did the cafeteria, the food service people. Can we work with them some other kind of way than to sit there talking about outsourcing everybody that we don't like? Not that we don't like them. That's the wrong word.
Yeah, I did not say that. I'm going to make
That's
that clear.
the wrong
That's
word.
not my intention.
Can we just kind of keep our people? Because the problem we're having is that we're short-staffed. Is that correct?
So right now we have 4 vacant positions. So and that ebbs and flows constantly because we have people
Yeah,
that.
so we just have 4 vacant positions.
can we just fill those positions and without sending all the rest of our 70 people away? How many custodians do we got?
We have 69 custodians.
Instead of sending them away, we fill those positions and just, you know, work with them. We're doing all right with the supervisors and Mr. Freeman and all them maintaining, helping them, showing them how to do it. The schools are cleaner and so forth. Why are we getting ready to let these people lose their jobs?
So, Ms. Tisworth, the goal is not for them to lose their job. So we will absorb them with whatever company that we bring in will absorb them. No. And I understand the frustration of it. I really do. The fact of the matter is we need to reduce our budget. We still have 6 to 7 million more. And so this is one of the ways, and our goals will be for the service to pick up the custodians that we have right now.
But isn't there don't we have other departments where we can kind of skim them off?
We're looking at every department. I've had everybody give me a spreadsheet of everyone in their department and to justify everyone. So this is not just DSOs, it's not just custodians. This will be a look at the entire district to see where we can downsize and we can save money.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, but right now it seems like we're going to the lower totem pole and pulling these people out when we could be just possibly top heavy or what have you, and let some of these people work instead of going home miserable.
But again, our goal is not to let them go. Our goal is for the custodial company that we bring in to utilize them. And that's if the board approves it. It is totally up.
But we said that with food service work. This is just a repeat of what we said with food service.
And we kept them. They're working with SFE, all of those food service.
They work with that company, but they no longer work for Review Gordon.
Right, but they were picked up. And Ms. Tisworth is talking about the food service company, SFE. They were picked up by, our employees were picked up by SFE. Okay.
I'm interested in the savings. And I understand it's we've been through this all year, as you already know. It's difficult, but a potential savings of $1.3 million, I don't think we can ignore that to be fiscally responsible. We just cannot. And regarding the equipment, and I'm going to have to take your word for it that we're at the lifespan end. I know that equipment is expensive, and to have to replace that on top of everything else, I just think we need to look at all of these options to be fiscally responsible.
Mr. Carl, I have a question. I don't know if this is too soon in the process, because I've seen this done a million ways throughout my career as an educator. Is it too soon to ask about the structure in terms of staffing? So would some remain district employees that are connected to the custodial department now, and others will go with the management company? Have there been any discussions? Because we can do this so many different ways.
Right, yeah, nothing has been formalized. This is really just the introduction of this topic. So, full disclosure, being completely transparent, did I go out and explore this and shop around and get some information? Absolutely. So yes, I had conversation with a company that can provide these services, and that allowed me to capture information that could allow me to project what kind of savings we would be looking at. Have we inked a deal or done anything? No, of course not, because we're not even sure we're going this direction. That's why we're here tonight to talk about this. So yes, I've done exploratory information. I've had personal experience doing this in a former district as well. And so, as well as having conversations with my counterparts at other districts who have also been through this process. And there are many different ways that it can and has been done. Some people have done a complete comprehensive change. Some have kept some of their staff and contracted others. There's been various hybrids, and you could do it over time through attrition. But again, the caveat there is I could just tell you this anecdotally. At my former district, we started that process 14 years ago, and it still has not fully converted. So that can go on for some time if you're waiting to do it through attrition. So, and thus, you're not going to capture that full savings if you don't do a comprehensive transition.
Understood. Thank you. Oh, Dr. May?
I guess one additional thought and recommendation is to identify those individuals who might be vested or close to being vested, along with there being some input by the leaders on their thoughts and feelings, because unless the company that we seek have a strong staffing component as well, if we lost individuals, we still would be at a loss as far as our needs. So if we don't get any buy-in from the staff, then they could choose not to be a part of that transition, and then we're still at a loss, and that's a different type of deficit. Human resource deficit is a deficit, just like the financial resources are a deficit. So I think like just including a process where the management team that will be impacted and the staff just give some input on, you know, their thoughts and feelings on that transition would be appropriate, I think, with buy-in.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scheit.
All right, thank you.
Next, we will move to our items for discussion.
Our first item for discussion are policy recommendations. Making this presentation is Ms. Jennifer Williams, Human Resource Manager, and this is in conjunction with policy CH, Policy Implementation and Dissemination. Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, community, and colleagues. Tonight I will be presenting one policy for discussion, and that policy is Policy KB, Public Information Program. This policy is being updated to more closely align with the expectations in the Missouri School Improvement Plan, version 6. The district provides for a two-way, reliable, and representative communication with all stakeholders. The district implements and regularly reviews a communication plan, as Mr. Sinstrunk presented today, and the district regularly communicates to all stakeholders the progress and attainment of the system's mission, vision, and goals. And MSBA has also removed the section titled Specific Information, and this is now included in our administrative procedure, KB-AP1. It is recommended that the district will accept the revisions as mentioned and outlined by MSBA. Are there any questions?
All right, thank you, Ms. Williams. Our next item up for discussion is the staffing plan adjustment. Making this presentation is Mr. Travis Ford, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, and this is in conjunction with policy IHB. Mr. Ford.
Good evening, school board members, Dr. Patton, colleagues and community. The 2025-2026 staffing plan was approved by the Board of Education on July 8th, 2025. Each year, the proposed plan is developed based on projected enrollment and the academic and operational needs of each school site. Since its approval, we are recommending adjustments to reflect updated district needs, which include reductions to the current allocations. These reductions are made at several grade levels at the elementary school level because these grade levels have consistent enrollment that is significantly below DESE's policy. DESE is standards and the policy standards. In these reductions and in these classrooms, DESE sets the standards as being for kindergarten through second grade, 25 students per class, third through fourth grade, 27 students per class, and in fifth grade, 30 students per class. I'm gonna lift this up a little bit so I can see a little bit better. In these schools and in these grade levels, we have classes that have 18 students per class in classes that should have 30 students per class. down to 9 students per class in classrooms that should have 25 students per class. These recommendations are based on the enrollment numbers that are pulled on the last Wednesday of September, which are used to submit for the state core data reporting. The recommended changes are intended to ensure that our staffing allocations remain responsive to our evolving student needs and our schools, while maintaining a strong commitment to the fiscal responsibility of the district. These recommendations are budgeted, and they are estimated to bring a cost reduction by removing the long-term substitutes in these sections and replacing them with certified teachers in most of these allocations. It will bring in a cost reduction of $37,800 per quarter. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve these adjustments to the 25-26 school staffing plan to comply with policy IHB class size, which is aligned with the DESE class size standards. Are there any questions?
Ms. Lane?
That's a lot. So how does this work into the possible realignment, Superintendent, where we're thinking about having designated schools for designated classes, which I personally think is an excellent idea. How does it work into that? And are we going to have personnel? Are we going to have certified teachers to actually be able to fill these positions if we eliminate our long-term subs? Do we have enough staffing to do that?
So currently, want me to go ahead and answer? Currently, yes, we have enough staffing to do that. We're currently staffed, whether it is with certified teachers or long-term substitutes at these positions. We have enough right now. The enrollment numbers at these class sites are showing that we are actually overstaffed based off of DESE's class size standards. So what we would be doing is reducing some of those long-term substitutes in those classes. Some classes will be replaced by certified teachers. Some buildings, it'll just be a reduction in the long-term substitutes that's in that building.
And you said the savings is how much?
The savings currently will be about $37,800 per quarter. This savings was calculated based off of what those long-term substitutes have been paid as of this quarter.
How's that work into what we're planning on doing?
So, Ms. Lane, in answer to your question, with the closure of Danforth and the realignment of our district, of course, that would put more students in every building. But that's going to be for the 26-27 school year, not for this school year. These reductions are for this school year, right? Mm-hmm.
Dr. May?
Yes, I was just interested in our board policy that might support the combining of classrooms, or what would the split classroom look like?
So a split classroom, it would be based off the enrollment at that building and where an allocation needed to be reduced. That split classroom could be a 3rd, 4th grade split. Mm-hmm. It could be a kindergarten, 1st grade split. It could be a 1st, 2nd grade split. It would depend on what the numbers look like in those classes, in those buildings. What it would look like in many of the buildings, if that building had 2 allocations at each allocation, and all of a sudden there had to be a reduction, they would probably have, say for instance, it's 3rd and 4th grade. They would have 1 4th grade, 1 3rd grade, and then 1 3rd, 4th split, depending on the number of students that are in that little cohort of students.
So I'm just saying they're in the same room, and instruction with there being grade level expectations for them differently will look like what? That's what I'm saying. Like, is somebody trying to differentiate? I mean, like, what does it look like for them meeting their expectation?
So
and I'm concerned for anything that is a tested area like 3rd grade, like combining with another grade level, and they need to be working towards some skills, and making sure that they are getting all of their expectations met before they transition to grade level the next grade level of instruction. So I'm just curious of what the plan looks like for that type of room.
So what the plan should look like is that those students are looked at based off of their skill levels. There is differentiation in that classroom. Those building principals, instructional coaches, the CNI team will kind of push in to support that building leader in selecting which students will go into the split class based off of who can support the higher achieving students and other students, so that they are kind of leveled in that class so that they can all be successful.
So as far as input from administration, given the fact that there are subs based on their background and their intellect and their interest in really learning the craft, actually do an outstanding job at instruction in comparison. So how do we make sure that when we're making a decision about staffing, that we don't miss out on somebody that actually does a great job with implementation of instruction that's a continuing sub?
So there is collaboration with the principals, but with that collaboration, there is a push to be fiscally responsible from the district level, but then there's also pushback from those building principals about who is really impacting the instruction in those classrooms. Many of our long-term substitutes are in preparation programs to become certified, and so those building leaders will push back and say, well, this person is working on their certification, this person just needs to take their test, this person has made some gains. We have pulled data for long-term substitutes from our Director of Data Assessment so that we can look at that, so that we can make an informed decision. But we have to do that collaboration and give that push so that we're making sure we're getting making the best decision fiscally, but then also making the best decision for the impact of our students. And our building principals will fight for that. They'll push, they'll give us that anecdotal and then even the data-driven information that they may have that the Human Resources Department may not have. And then we'll come back and collaborate, and then collaborate again, and then they'll send information to the superintendent, and we'll collaborate again and look so that we can make sure that we're making the best decision.
So I would suggest that maybe a transfer plan be a part of the process, because if I say that I want a continuing sub over a regular teacher based on what they are showing, then we need a plan for that other teacher that might be beneficial in another setting. So like incorporating everything that makes sense for that environment to be impacted positively as far as climate and culture, because there's layers to it. You know, they establish relationships, climate and culture, all the inconsistencies when you change out staff and the emotional response of kids. Like just having a full transition plan and really considering the impact of the academics on kids. And I know that some of the data will support, you know, kids who might be struggling versus the ones that are doing a little bit well, where it may make sense, like, okay, they're a third grader, but their performance is at second grade, then it makes sense to tier them together, you know, as a target group. But just making sure that everybody can give some input and it's a thoughtful process so that kids can be considered, and families and the whole school environment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Coleman?
Is there a plan for extra training and support, professional development for teachers who are facilitating those split classes?
So there will be. That is something, as we started considering this, that we have started thinking about and looking at how will we support those teachers who will be going into those split classes. What teachers will be the ones who are selected for those split classes, and what type of resources do we need to supply for them?
Because I'll tell you, in my own experience, differentiation is a buzzword and that's all it is. It's a buzzword, and it's not actually done, and students aren't getting the benefit that they should. Also, when we look at our scores, with so many of our scholars performing at basic and below basic, is it academically sound to group these students in larger classes? Seemingly, students in smaller classes receive more support, giving teachers an opportunity to hone in on skills that those students need,
and they are not so easily lost in the crowd. When I first started teaching, I had the opportunity to teach at a class where my largest class was 16 students. I taught middle school. And in our building, in our school, we had the best performing students in the city of St. Louis. And part of that was given the fact that we had small class sizes so that we could focus on instruction and provide students with more support than they would get if they were in a room with 30 middle school students. And I just, I'm in elementary schools every day, and when I walk into that 5th grade class that has 30 students in it, and when we have students that are reading below level, it's a recipe for disaster. They are not learning. They are crowded. They are overlooked. The teacher is overwhelmed. Discipline is a problem, and learning is not taking place. So I just wonder, we got to find something else. Is there something else we can do? Because this does not sound like a plan that is in the best interest of our students, especially if we want to make those gains on the MAP test.
So, Dr. Coleman, let me address that. None of the reductions that we made put a class at 30 or even 29. I think the highest class from these reductions were maybe 24 in a classroom. So none of them are at 30. And I will say that we are at a specific place in Riverview Gardens where we have to absolutely and our goal is always, you've heard this from me over and over and over, full accreditation. And that's what I want for our students. And that's what I want for our staff because they work hard. I do have the caveat is we've got to get to full accreditation, at the same time pay attention to the budget and the deficit that we're spending in right now. We're in a $10 million spending deficit, and we are eating away at our fund balance. So it's a very fine line that is necessary to walk with being responsible to the students, being responsible to the community, and making sure that we are fiscally responsible as well as providing a good education. So it's a very fine line to walk. We are walking it, this tightrope as best we can, and it is not our goal to stack a classroom with 30 kids in it at any level, especially from a reduction. So I can say that we are doing our best to make sure that we are paying attention to the fact that we need to get to full accreditation, and we know the number of points we need to hit this year in order to get there, making sure students are in a classroom that's effective and not overcrowded, as well as being responsive to the financial aspect of our school district. And so it's a very fine line to walk. It's not an easy line, and it's not a pleasant line, but it is a necessary line.
Dr. Coleman and then Ms. Lane. I'm thinking.
Dr. Patton, one of the things you said was that it's around a $35,000 reduction per quarter. So I'm not a mathematician, but I think around 145,000, 150,000. Surely we can find that somewhere else. Surely somewhere else, anywhere else.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lane.
Thank you. So I'm just reading what you say, and I'm going to have to trust, and that's the word I intend to use, the words that are on here that say that we are operating outside of DESE or below the DESE policy. That's number one. And these numbers, if we believe them, where I see 16 to 17, down to 14 to 14 for 3rd grade attendance. So we're already operating in a smaller class size where fewer students are being instructed. We're already doing that. And our test score numbers are not reflecting that. As to me, I'm not an educator. I'm looking at the numbers though. So we're already operating a little bit more one-on-one. And I'm saying that in quotes because it's not one-on-one. Right. But smaller numbers, and we're not producing it right now. We're making great strides. This is, I know the numbers from when I started just 3 years ago, so yes, we are doing fantastic. However, there are other elements that are going on. We have another whole district who wants to come into this district and literally take children from our district to make another district. That is a reality. We have to think about that. I'm not willing to hand over our students to another district who may be talking about these same kind of numbers, according to some of the stuff that I'm reading anyway. The deficit that we're operating in is not going to be sustainable. And it's a very common, you do things the same way and you're expecting something different. It just doesn't make real good sense to do that. We have to look, as emotional as all of this is, we gotta look forward and broader. And we could at least try. And we're already talking about having students with in a certain grade level at one school to get that foundation. This would be kind of like the precursor to doing that. We have to at least try, just my opinion, to be more fiscally responsible and just try to help. And I just think we need to look at it.
Thank you.
Mr. Ford, I have a question. I noticed for Moline, there is a 2nd grade and 5th grade allocations that are being reduced.
Yes.
And it says here that those teachers will be reassigned to a different location.
Yes.
Do we know where they're going to be reassigned to?
So
if
we have
this
an
is
idea of where
approved?
we want to reassign those teachers.
Okay.
5th grade and 3rd grade. We have openings at like Lee Masters Elementary where we would replace a long-term substitute and put these certified teachers in there. We also have some allocations at other schools. However, we are working with Greenheart, and our hope is to be able to put one of them at Lewis and Clark, who has not been approved for international teachers beforehand, and Highland, who has not been approved for international teachers or these moves beforehand. One of these teachers would be international, one of these teachers would be an American teacher. I'm working with Greenheart. They have an approval process for some transfers, and they have told us that if we get them certain information, they may be able to approve Lewis and Clark and Highland to be able to take international teachers. That would give us an opportunity to fill those 2 buildings who have more certified vacancies than the other buildings because they have not been able to have access to international teachers. So our hope is to put one of these teachers at Highland, one of these teachers at Lewis and Clark. And if we're not approved for that international teacher, then that international teacher will probably go to a master's, or we'll look at some other needs.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have
Okay,
one
Dr. May.
additional question. What is the proposed implementation of this?
So this is going for discussion this week. At the next board meeting, it'll be on the consent agenda for approval. If it's approved, then we will have those final conversations with those building principals to start looking at an implementation date to move in.
So
we've already started having conversations with those building principals about the possibility of losing these allocations, and for them to start talking about which long-term substitute needs to be moved, which teacher needs to be moved. We've looked at higher dates, and so we'll be prepared after that next board meeting to finalize the date.
Okay, so you thinking implementation within this semester? I mean, this.
So typically, these changes are made in October after we pull the DESI numbers. We typically make these changes in October every year, and we implement it going into 2nd quarter. Our original hope was not to get that far into 2nd quarter so that we're not 3 weeks in, 3.5 weeks in, and it's almost progress report time. And so our hope was to move it a little bit faster. However, we want to make sure that there's enough transition time. So we're going to look at it. We're going to build the plan for the transfer plan, as you all called it, and then we'll make that final determination when that change date will be.
Has there been a discussion incorporated about transferring students to other sites to address enrollment?
There hadn't been a discussion about that. I think the only discussion about that has been with boundary realignments, those pieces, so no.
Okay, and then a parent communication plan, is that
That'll be
incorporated?
developed as we finalize this, because we also have to look at secondary numbers as well.
Okay, and so if a parent say they don't want their child to have that option, what is the plan for them?
We haven't developed that at this moment, so I'll say give us a moment to kind of figure out exactly how we're going to address that.
Yeah.
However, we have to do what's in the best interest of the students, and in most of these cases, these students who did not have a certified teacher will now have a certified teacher. That's
Okay.
in the best interest of the students.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Jackson?
Not yet.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. My first thing is, actually not a question, it's a statement. And just being in the schools, if I'm in kindergarten and I have a first grade and a kindergarten teacher, and I don't even know I don't know how to pick if you put your alphabets down, I can't pick an A. I can't tell you where A is. And you're gonna put me in a room with a first grader, and they may know, and I'm gonna get lost. Because you're gonna go by the kids, you're gonna teach up. You know, you're going to pick those kids that you feel like, and they're going to get lost in this shuffle. That's my biggest concern with those babies. And then you said you were thinking about putting an international teacher over there. Some of these babies can barely talk English. They're sad, they can barely talk. They have speech problems. So you're going to put somebody in front of them that cannot talk correct English to them. What are we doing? This is a very touchy situation. This is very serious. And we have to make sure we're implementing this correctly. And we're making sure we're putting the right people in front of these kids. And that's in any school. Because they can't learn if they can't understand you. It's going on in the middle schools. They can't learn if they can't understand you. If I can't understand what you're saying, I'm not going to learn from you. So we really need to make sure that this is something we definitely need to make sure we're getting parent involvement in. Because if you're going to put my kid in a split room, I want to know, like, hey, what's going on? What kind of teacher are they going to get? What is the pros and cons of this? Is my child going to get lost in the shuffle? Because right now, we got a lot of kids getting lost, and they're in a regular room with a regular teacher that can talk English, and they can't do the basics. So we got to really make sure that we're doing this, and we're doing it for the kids. And I understand money is a big thing right now in our district, but we got to be more mindful of who we put in front of our babies. We got to be more mindful, because these are very tender ages for these babies. And sometimes they go home and their parents don't know. If I don't know, how am I teach my child? Then you got somebody else in front of them that I don't understand. We're doing a disservice to our kids. We got to be mindful of what we put in front of our babies and how we're splitting them up and who we're putting them with. And then with the teachers, I understand you said you're going to get certified teachers, but who are we going to make? If we're in a school that we couldn't get any certified teachers, and then all of a sudden now, oh, I got a certified teacher I can give you. What happened at the beginning of the year? Why wasn't they getting certified teachers? What happened? Who dropped the ball? Why weren't there certified teachers in the buildings? Because as a parent, that's a question I'm going to ask. Like, what happened? If you all had this already, what happened? If my child was leery to this, why didn't they get it? And I'm saying it's because I have grandkids that left this district, and they're in a different district. I'm not going to say what district you're in. And they're over there, they're struggling really bad. And it's not because I didn't give them what I needed at home, but it's because they wasn't getting what they needed at school. I got a grandbaby now that's in one of our schools. I'm trying to get him up out of here because he can't understand the teacher. He has a speech problem. And if he can't understand that teacher, he's not getting what he needs. He's a speech impairment, and I don't know what that is with my kids. Both of my kids had speech problems, and they got older, and then it went away. But he's at that age where he still has that really bad speech problem. And he's like, hey, I don't even know what she be saying half of the time. I'm not getting it. What do parents do in that kind of situation? We got to make sure that we're thinking about the kids. We got to make sure that what we're putting in front of those babies matter. Because if not, we're giving them right from the school to the prisons. Because our little kids that look like us are not getting it. So I hope that we're really thinking, and we're really putting in a lot of hard work and putting our boots on the ground, putting our heads together before we make decisions that's going to affect our kids.
Ms. Jackson, let me address a couple of things you said. You talked about the international teachers. What we made sure and remain focused on doing is making sure they're not at the foundational level, so kindergarten through second. There are a few instances where they are there because they are performing well, but that was one of the concerns that I raised because that's the developmental of language. And so we try to make sure that the people that are in that developmental kindergarten through second grade level, that they are English speakers so that our students can understand that. You talked about why wasn't there certified teachers in front of the students to begin with. The class reductions are making room for certified teachers to be moved from one building to the other. We still have a large number of shortages in terms of certified teachers. We have how many subs in our classrooms?
About 70.
So that means we didn't have 70 certified teachers that applied. And so we are recruiting, we are trying to bring them in, but the space was created due to the class sizes. So that's what created the room for a certified teacher to be moved. And I will say we didn't look at any classes that were in the 20s. Every class that we reduced or putting in front of you all had been in the teens, 14, 17, 19 in a classroom. And so again, even with the size increase, we didn't increase any of them to be higher than 24 to make sure. So I just wanted you all to know that. I do also want to say, board, I hear you loud and clear and I understand the concerns. These are my same concerns. I have a responsibility to my board and to this community to be fiscally responsible while trying to balance the academics of Riverview Gardens. And it is not an easy task. I readily and fully admit that. We are doing our best and we will continue to do our best to look at all ways of reducing, being responsible to our fund balance, reducing our $10 million a year deficit that we are spending, as well as trying to keep full accreditation in front of us, because I sleep with that word on my mind. Full accreditation and budget are constantly on my mind. And so I hear you all, and I will give consideration to what you're saying. Please know that I don't make any decisions without the thought of students in mind, ever in 31 years.
One last thing. We paid a demographer company a lot of money to give us a projection of what this district was going to be like over the next 10 years. And that demographer came back that we were losing students. I think it was, what's the number, Super? 10,000?
Between 800 to 1,000 students between 2025 and 2035.
Okay, so that's already projected. We already know, and we can talk about, there's many layers to this. We're in North County. The demographic of where we're living is constantly changing. The people, we have people moving in and out. Home ownership right now is at an all-time low in my municipality, just an all-time low. So again, I'm concerned about someone thinking they can come and just literally kick us when we're down and cherry pick our students from our district when we have an opportunity to do some things and make some changes and I don't believe, just so you know, that you're doing this just behind numbers and without deep consideration. I'm not the superintendent, and I know how emotional I am about it, okay? So I understand it, and it's difficult, and it's hard. Change is always hard. But again, Mr. Ford, I'm gonna trust you that these numbers that you have on here is what we're working with. We can't ignore that. We cannot like it all we want. And I still think it's only prudent to at least try. If we don't try, we'll never know how successful or not successful we are. And we're already thinking about combining grades for specific schools. anyway. So this isn't like something we're reaching out the thin air. I believe you all have done your work about this. I do. So we have to do the things that we have to do to help make this a smoother transition. I think we should bend over backwards for it. But the transition, I think, should happen.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Thank you.
Before I hand it over to you, Madam Chair, I do want to acknowledge, earlier I talked about our Professional Development Day, and I thank the C&I department. I also want to thank our instructional coaches and our building administrators who helped us with the PD Day. So I inadvertently left them out, and I want them to know that they are equally appreciated. Madam Chair, that concludes items for discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. At this time, I'll request a motion to adjourn our open session.
I so move. I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved by Ms. Jackson and seconded by Ms. Moore-Real to adjourn our open session. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes, meeting adjourned. Good night and be safe going home. Thank you.